everyone, and welcome to Watch Bad Movies with Great Comedians, the first episode, or as we like to call it, the redo. I'm Billy Kirkwood for some reason, and I'm joined by a selection of fantastic comedians who not only are, well, we call them boffins about cinema, but we call them about cinephiles. I'm always a bit nervous about using that expression, but we are going to be talking about a select film. We're going to be deciding, is it a good film? Is it a bad film? We love it either way. Could we improve it? Or maybe we're just going to break it down and rip it to shreds. Let me introduce you to the panel we've got. First of all, I feel bad because literally before we started the podcast, we were just making jokes about the length of this man's girth. So here we go. Halfway up the shaft of his penis, it changes postcodes. He's an incredible comedian, and I'm told, due to the mustache, has been dealing drugs to half of Cuba. Please would you welcome none other than wonderful Mr. Chris Thorburn, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Up next, we have This is a difficult one because this is one of my oldest friends in comedy and I'm never exactly sure. I can feel his eyes boring into me going, go on, be professional or be a prick. I'm going to choose to be both. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the top, I believe, compere resident host in the country. And of course, he is one of my oldest friends and better enemies when it comes to actually talking about films. So this is going to be an interesting one. Please would you welcome the wonderful Mr. Rick Molland, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello.
And then for balance, we have got ourselves a fairy tale giant on the show. Please would you welcome podcaster in his own right, incredible comedian, and a man that frankly could beat me to death with his movie knowledge and nothing to do with his giant girth. Settle it down, Chris. Please would you welcome Big Chris Scott, ladies and gentlemen. My favourite wrestler. Welcome to the show. Gentlemen, we are kicking it off with the film that started it all.
Started what?
Watch bad movies into great comedians. The first live show we ever did was watching this in front of a live audience. Now, the interesting thing about this, let me tell you, first of all, the film is Masters of the Universe. Not He-Man, Masters of the Universe. We're just going with Masters of the Universe. We'll cover that in a second. The 1987 Dolph Lundgren starring vehicle? We'll probably debate that.
Yeah, I think it's his first lead, wasn't it?
It's definitely his first lead.
He's in it.
I don't know. I don't know. Red Scorpion?
No, Red Scorpion's after that, isn't it?
And a classic, may I say. But what we're going to do is we're going to break down the film. We're going to have a little chat about some of the ins and outs, and we'll see what we think about it. Is it a good film? Let me ask you, going round, Rick, I'm going to start with you.
Here's a question for you to start with. Why did you pick it as your very first film?
Well, the interesting thing is, I actually quite like this film. Right. Okay. For this very simple reason, give you a little bit of history. While the rest of the world had no idea how, here in the United Kingdom, at one point, Canon Pictures bought a series of cinemas because nobody was showing their awful films. Masters of the Universe was one of the films. Now, here in the UK, this was a huge hit. For some bizarre reason, but the rest of the planet virtually ignored it. The reason I picked this, because I loved this film when I was a kid, and it has been universally panned since then. I've got to say, I watched the first 5 minutes of this film earlier on today. I actually quite liked it. The first 5 minutes for a 1987 film are not that bad.
I think, so I watched it for the first time last night. I never saw it before.
Welcome.
And so the two films that Canon did that year were this, Masters of the Universe and Superman 4.
That's a bit like when Spielberg did Jurassic Park and Schindler's List.
Just like it.
Just nailing it right out of the fucking park.
And Superman 4, I think, is a genuine travesty of film.
It's badly made.
There's bits in that where it's the same shot used over and over, and there's where he's flying out from the planet, and they use the same shot, exactly the same shot, time and time again.
It almost doesn't qualify as a bad film for a very different reason.
It looks like a student project.
See when films are made with actual care, and you go, somebody loved this.
Yeah.
Like, even you can almost appreciate that, and even though you might not go as a good film, but Superman 4 is it's the equivalent of trying to make a jigsaw and going like, I don't have that piece. Give me that piece of like squirrel skin or something. There we go.
I'm going to see whether I can jam my cock into this.
Exactly.
Right. All right. Whereas, so I kind of was expecting, in my head, that's what I was expecting. I was expecting that. And I watched it and I went, actually, this is just what I expect from 1980s fantasy films. I think it's probably on a par with Krull.
Motherfucker, how dare you?
Oh, how much do you like the film now, bitch?
I quite like Krull.
But no,
Apart from that bit where the fucking unicorn drowns in the swamp, spoiler.
I mean, I've never seen Krull, but
You'll
now,
enjoy that bit.
now I really want to see that.
Oh my god,
Is
what a
the
weird way to
unicorn-
find out
is
your
the-
kink.
Yeah.
It's the unicorn.
Fucking stupid unicorns. Smug.
So isn't there? So never-ending story. Isn't there also a horse down in a swamp there as well?
There is. Yeah.
Let me talk you through some of the films that came out in 1987, right? Because it is across the board. I mean, there is some classics in here. We've got The Princess Bride. We've got Good Morning Vietnam. We've got Monster Squad, which is a film I like.
Monster Squad is really good if you can get by some of the let's just say terms they use. You wouldn't have in an adult film, never mind a kids film now.
Couple of dodgy terms, but a good
They
film.
use racial
nonetheless.
slurs for Frankenstein.
Not quite.
No, but one for our homosexual brothers and
say it on
sisters.
camera, it's fine.
No, I think it'll be all right. I think it'll be all right. I just want to
What's
say
the world? I mean, for
I stand
homosexual
with my LGBTQ brothers and sisters, and love is love, and that's what I want to make sure that I'm very clear about right now.
This party political broadcast was brought to you by the sheer panic of Christopher. We've also got Planes, Trains and Automobiles, Lost Boys, which the argument rages on in that. I know some people that say it's one of the greatest films of all time, and other people universally hate it. Chris, just as a little spoiler, I see you shaking your head. What do you think of Lost Boys?
I fucking love Lost Boys.
I didn't think people hated it. But there we go.
I think the memory of Lost Boys is better than the reality of Lost Boys.
I don't know, man. Let's not. You know, we'll maybe cover Lost Boys 2 or Lost Boys 3, The Thirst, at one point. Both of which I've sat through. You're welcome. I'll do it for you.
I guess we were lost boys, but now we're lost men.
My favorite part of
Hello,
Lost
President
Boys.
of Comedy. He's here. Come and pick him up. That's right.
You've got his number.
We're only 5 minutes in, and we've already gone to the point of having a comedy phone on the table. Dirty Dancing, Wall Street, Three Men and a Baby. There's some big hitters in here.
Yeah,
in this year.
One of the big films that year was Stakeout.
Oh my God, Richard Dreyfuss.
Dreyfuss.
Yeah, I believe that was number 2 in the US box office the week this was released.
Was it really?
I think this was number 3. I think it was The Living Daylights.
Yeah.
Number 3 is not terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, I did.
But I
I think I didn't stay in there long.
Yeah.
It didn't stay in there
Alright,
long,
okay.
yeah.
So, was there more? I'm so sorry.
Well, what I was going to say is I thought before we'll get into the film and rip it apart, in terms of how it's been received, right?
By us, because you were going to ask, is it a good film? Do you think it's a good
Is it
film
a
or
good
bad?
film or a bad film? Rick, where do you stand?
I think it's okay.
That's fair. Chris.
I think you two are fucked in the head. It's a terrible film.
What? What? Chris?
I think it's charitable calling it a film.
Wow! Whoa!
I agree with Chris and his big penis.
Fucking heel turn by old Captain Dong over here.
He's got that big Chris energy.
Big Chris energy. I'm always a little frustrated by a film.
He has the power.
Just removes it from his sheath.
Holds it up to the heavens.
Yeah.
As audiences everywhere grab their handbags and leave.
Why do women call my dick Skeletor? It's fine. It doesn't matter.
It's just very,
Because every time you whip it out,
gave him great skill.
it's very bony and you'll never see it again. I always have an issue with films that I think are making the effort. And hell, there's even films that I'll rewatch again and again, like they're gonna suddenly get better. It's like if I rewatch Buckaroo Banzai, which I like, I will rewatch it again and again. Like it is gonna get like I find other things to appreciate in it. I saw this in the cinema where maybe it wasn't even the first time round. The debate rages in that because if I was let's see, this came out in 1987, so I was 7 or 8. I can't see my parents taking me to see this.
It was a Christmas. It was a Boxing Day release here.
It's
So
not
maybe 88 then.
inconceivable. You know, I might have
but
seen it
definitely
first time round and thought it was a stroke of genius, or I saw it in a replay. Either way, when you were a little kid and you were just really willing to take that little splash, and I remember being a He-Man fan, I thought this was okay.
I also saw it at the cinema when it first came out.
There we go.
Because my parents were cooler than yours, it sounds like.
Mine's
but-
are dead. My parents are both dead.
Oh, well, then I went.
They're still cooler. They're still cooler. Because they managed to stay alive.
So yeah, exactly. That doesn't help your point.
No, I just feel like it's nice to get it off the chest.
Just come on, it's the
They
same
let me down. Listen, all diabetes. No, it's
But even as a kid, I remember going, this is a bit shit.
No.
Even as a kid, because it wasn't like the cartoon.
I'm
That
glad you
probably-
picked up on that point
That's
because
probably why I thought. I wouldn't say I was a like Siskel and Ebert as an 8-year-old.
My memory of it coming out was that I wanted to go and see it.
yeah.
Folks wouldn't take me. The reason I wanted to go and see it because was Dolph Lundgren had just been in Rocky.
It just been Rocky.
And I'd seen Rocky.
If he dies, he dies.
If he dies, he dies. And I'd seen Rocky, and the next day, convinced my mom to take me to the hairdressers and get
Oh,
the,
no!
get the Drago haircut.
The flat
Is there a picture?
Yeah,
Is there
exactly.
any
I need
pictures?
to see that.
Is there any pictures? Because we will totally send it to Paul and he can edit that in here.
Yeah.
Here. I don't know. I guess it was like the Muscle Man kind of a phase of movies of the
Oh, yeah.
80s and what have you. I remember thinking like you going like, this isn't He-Man. That's not Prince Adam. Where's the Bob?
Yeah.
Where's the Bob in the furry pants? Yeah. Where's Cringer? Where is fucking Battle Cat? Where's Battle Cat? Like the big thing, and this is right about the time where Hollywood were kind of going like, these toys are very popular. So the Turtles movie isn't far away from this. No. It's not far away from this at all. And that was huge. That was a huge success. Do I think it's a good film? No, I don't think it's a good film. I think it's a well-intentioned film because there's some quite bright spots in it that they're trying really hard.
Well intentioned, like it's trying to give a message to people.
Pretty much.
I just think it's on a par with loads of other films like that. I don't think it's terrible in that, but I don't think it's that far away from Willow. I don't think it's that far. I think there's a whole load of other films in that time that are just
no one's competing with Star Wars. This is right in there with Beastmaster and Krull to a certain respect. Is this the bit where you say Beastmaster's the greatest film of all time?
No, I think
Beastmaster's what he calls his cock.
Yeah, he does.
No, I think you are onto something. I think it's
Wait, about the Beastmaster thing?
He only fucks animals with his massive cock. That's how he controls them.
This started off real complimentary, and now I'm fucking.
I feel like this is bullying someone for having a massive dick.
It's a real roller coaster, Chris.
Chris, your thoughts?
Well, like I think you're on to this has more in common with like the first Thor movie than I think some people would care to admit.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know? Now, is that saying this is better than people think? Is this me saying like Thor is worse than people? I don't even know. But like, it's there's more in common than some people might want to admit.
Well,
They wanted this to be a franchise. That was the original plan.
Well, there was plan, and we chatted about it just before we kicked off. There was plans for a sequel. Now, spoiler alert, we do see an after-credit Skeletor popping up and going, does he say I'll be back?
He says, yes, I think he does, doesn't he?
In terms of the we got to talk about canon cinema just very briefly. I don't know if we'll probably touch on more. I'm pretty confident we're going to touch on more film for these guys. They could go from accidental artistic masterpieces, the occasional successes, to stuff like this.
They had a couple of... Didn't they have a couple of like Oscar...
They had a couple of great... They would get...
Remains of the Day?
So, yep, sometimes Dreamcast... Did you say Remains of the Day? Shut up.
There's a
I'm a little stinker.
They did a Jean-Luc Godard film.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
We got to recommend going and checking the documentary on the make. It's an interesting time, but then there'd be films like this where clearly they've just tried to go with every single genre. The traveling back to Earth, the fish out of water type scenario, Little Glimpse of America. This is somewhere in the 80s. We don't know when, but it's somewhere in nondescript 80s.
Even in the... Well, I don't know which Star Trek it is, but there's a Star Trek where they do the same trick and they come back and
Voyage Home.
Even in Star Trek, right? They recognize that Spock's ears might be a problem, and we're going to have to deal with his ears. Not in this. They do not. At no point does anyone question Dolph Lundgren walking around in what is essentially bondage gear for the entire film.
If we were in LA in the 80s, then that's cool, man. But also, for the record, seeing films when you have like big hulking guys like that who suddenly put on like overalls or a t-shirt really fucks me off. I don't know why. It's like, I'm being cheap. No, I want you in the He-Man gear. I don't want you in the same type of outfit a fucking PE teacher would wear. I want you in the gear.
You've paid your ticket money
I
to
paid
see
my
those,
fucking money.
those pegs.
I don't want to see. It's like when the Ghostbusters are in suits and I go, what the fuck am I watching here? What the fuck am I watching here? Sorry.
Ocean's
How
11.
do you want the Ghostbusters dressed?
I want them in their fucking proton packs and their overalls.
And sometimes without the overalls.
Just a proton pack.
Milking slime out of their own dicks. I don't know. That would
Crossing
be
the streams, etc., etc.
etc.
So should we maybe go through the plot? I would say, in case anyone's got the robust
Why
mental
should
health.
we go through the plot when they didn't fucking bother?
They didn't
But
bother.
just like people watching this may have the robust mental health of not having seen this in the last week, unlike us damaged individuals.
We have to cover a couple of things before we get into it. What resemblance does this bear to He-Man the cartoon? Before we get even started, not a lot. The kind of top and tail of it is an Internia, I believe. So we're getting a little bit of that. But there ain't going to be a lot of stuff in Palaces, folks. There ain't going to be a lot of stuff.
Also, Eternia, there's a thing with the guy at the end of the film, the guy who's I can't remember his name, the guy who is the
Police detective.
police detective
Yes.
who's in
James
Back to the
Tolkien.
Future.
He's in Back to the Future. He's in
Tolkien.
Top
I don't think I'm
Gun.
going to that right.
There's a thing where he
Detective
just,
Lubeck.
he just decides to stay.
Now,
at the end
that
of
is
the film.
such a trope. It's a trope they never explore.
Yeah.
Right, but have you seen how desolate and horrendous that planet is?
Did you see the woman, though? Did you see? They had fans for her.
Yeah, basically he says, I've got a castle and I've got this beautiful woman, so I'm staying here. So Detective Lubeck is effectively a sex tourist.
So what?
That's what he's like a sleazy old man going to
Prince
Thailand.
Andrew.
Yeah.
Chris, you've probably covered like every type of cliche or trope that they've had in movies at some point in your stand-up shows. What's the deal with this one?
I love that trope, like that. Nah, I'm staying. Kind of like it's because like I don't. This. What they don't show you is this man has a son at home. He's just left.
And a wife.
Yeah.
Who's pregnant and ill. Normally, like you'll get the bold one where it'll be like I'm going to stay and help these guys fight the war, and you're kind of like, you're a fucking idiot, right?
Yeah.
You've decided you're going to die,
Yeah.
and then there is ones like that. It's like, what do you do for money?
Yeah.
Like, did they give you just? Did he?
Oh yeah, what
Did
is
he give you
the what's
a
the
job?
economic system in Eternia?
Just like, is he going to be a policeman over there, or is he just like he's going to get noshed off for the rest of his days?
Do you think behind one of those like dusty hills there's like a mall? And there's like
Exactly.
commerce.
That's the thing. There's nothing on the planet. Like the planet is just a waste ground.
There'll be
It's
nice
just-
bits. There's always nice bits.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, think of Liverpool. There's nice bits in Liverpool. But you know what I mean? There's nasty bits and there's nice bits. In Glasgow, there's nasty bits.
Yeah, so if they just
And
turned,
then there's Edinburgh.
if you just turned the camera around the other way, there's like skyscrapers and look at rocket
Where are we
ships and
Where are
stuff.
we going to live? What about over there? and these wimpy building new houses.
Yeah.
Gonna get me one of those places. Gonna have to get a job, motherfucker.
Given who directed it, it's probably like a theme park. Just
On that note, before we are going to get into the film, this was directed by Gary Goddard. I think that's how you're pronouncing his name. Gary doesn't have... Well, right, okay. I'm going to go with the films first. Gary does not have a particularly good IMDb.
yeah. Or a record.
Or a record.
Yeah. Are you saying he's got a dodgy record? Okay, go on.
Preempted it. All the clues were there. The big films he directed were Jurassic Park The Ride, pre-show, and Hershey's Really Big 3D Show. Don't even know what that is. But also, there was a couple of issues. Can we get it out of the way?
Well, it's the classic when you go into like...
We want to know what other people have done. People involved with the film have done. Have they gone on to good things?
yeah.
He really didn't.
But it's always good when you go to look up a director or an actor or somebody, and then like on Wikipedia, there's just a whole section that says sexual abuse allegations, and I went, there we go.
There it is.
There it is.
So yes, it's. I don't think we want to go into this.
No,
into the weeds too much.
I would just say he seems like he's a bit of a beast.
It seems like he's
A beast man, one could say. Come on, thank you. Now back to the film.
So how do we reckon that
You're
with
sending a
this
copter
incredible body of work?
Yeah, that's it. Can you separate the art from the artist? When somebody makes a great piece
I've
of art,
seen this film, and I know what he did to Anthony Edwards. What he did to Anthony Edwards is not the worst thing he did in his life.
All right, let's get into the featuring He-Man, Masters of the Universe. Right, first 5 minutes of the film. Right, I want to get this out of the way. See if you just judge it in terms of what you said against fancy films. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Everyone's playing their part as they would. Frank Lang. I always correct me in the pronunciation. Langella has gone on record who stars as Skeletor has gone on record as saying this is one of the favorite roles he ever played.
He's having fun.
He played it like Shakespeare, and he is phenomenal in this film. He is having the time of his life.
The bright spot. If everyone else was in the same movie he was in, this would be a great movie.
May I quickly add something you won't notice? You're not going to see much of it in the rest of the film, but there is the Friends multiverse bleeds over very briefly into this film. Yeah. Because the sorceress is played by Christina Pickles, who played Monica's mum in Friends, and Courtney Cox, who was Monica, is in Masters of the Universe.
Oh, right.
All we need is Elliot Gould as Skeletor.
Wouldn't that be mad? Wouldn't that be mad? So is that the end of the Friends multiverse? Who knows? Who knows? I mean, I don't know, our parents. Anyway. So we start off, we're in, it's never really established where we are.
I found it felt like you come into the film.
There's
a war, there's a battle going on, they're losing. That much we know, they're losing.
I feel as though someone has read the start of the script for Star Wars and thought, that's how we start.
That's how we started.
It's actually, I think it's very apt, because I think the start of the film is kind of like what I would have done as like a small child explaining my He-Man toys to my mum. Where I'd be like, so there's Castle Grayskull, and if he's the bad guy, and he's got the sorceress, and then if He-Man's going to save her, and if it doesn't happen, it's going to be bad, okay? And then basically us as the audience go, yes, dear.
You got to ask yourselves, we had He-Man, we had She-Ra.
Don't think we should talk about anything Ra related in Glasgow.
Coming from an Irish family, I can't say too much. But we've already sent folk to your house. So the thing is,
wait, was that a coded warning?
Not at all. They just know. I'm a grass. No. The first 5 minutes of this film is very dense.
Yeah.
Right. I actually looked at this, and if you were just coming to see this in the cinema for the first time, if you were a dad that had been dragged along with your kids, you might go, this might be all right. This might be all right, because we see the war is raging. Skeletor and his minions are winning. The effects, I think, actually hold up okay. Skeletor's makeup is pretty good, and you get to see some fucking big close-ups. Yeah. And
they just filled in the eyes a wee bit more. That's more
that's fair. But we see the big hologram effect of him talking to He-Man, blah 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 blah, and you go, this is all right. Then it happens.
Compare that hologram to how Star Wars does holograms, and it looks garbage. That's the thing. It looks.
I don't know if it's meant to look good though. I guess I know that sounds like I'm nitpicking. I don't like if you are broadcasting a giant hologram of yourself in the middle of the desert. Is really anybody worrying about the bandwidth? You know what I mean? I think Skeletor might though. That's a good point. Yeah.
He's just running about. Like,
he's just like,
why am I not getting a Wi-Fi signal?
Where for turn it on and off again?
Why is this buffering?
He-Man's just stood in the desert like, you're on mute. You're on mute.
Skeletor with bunny ears.
So everything I'd say is looking pretty much as you would expect to this point. Then we see the back of He-Man, and then the film starts to go shit. Because Dolph Lundgren turns around, and we all spoke about it beforehand, maybe we'll even get a screenshot, and has the weirdest expression on his face. There's like nothing there. Now, we've chatted a little bit. Where do we stand in Dolph Lundgren as an actor? Not based on He-Man, but where do we stand in him? What do we think about him as an actor? Because his body of work isn't awful. It's not great. I mean, he's very good in Universal Soldier. Right, for a man of life. He's shown great acting, I think pretty good acting chops in, is it Creed 2?
Creed 2.
Creed 2, where he's revisiting Ivan
really good. Really good.
He's good in that. Yep. Just coming into his own. I appreciate that there's nearly like 30 years between these two films. And the rest of it is quite interchangeable, kind of Dolph Lundgren.
Johnny Mnemonic? Is he not in
Johnny Mnemonic? He's got a great turn in Johnny Mnemonic, just playing a mad bastard
kind of guy.
Yeah.
So he kind of dropped out. He did the Mickey Rourke?
He did drop out.
He did that Mickey Rourke thing of like
the Expendables,
of like dropping out and then coming back. And then Sly brought back a whole load of people, and he sort of disappeared for quite a long period of time, didn't he? He
was in Kindergarten Cop 2.
Was he really?
Well, look, you didn't know that film existed.
Nope.
Well, there it is. Kindergarten Cop.
I mean,
I assume that's not a Gary Goddard.
Let's hope not.
Production.
Let's hope not. Let's hope not. So, but
Jesus Christ.
I think the look in his face is this. And I'm being legitimately when I say this. I think this is probably maybe his first time even doing green screen, and he's just turned around. Right, Dolph, we're gonna get you to turn around. Did you get it? Yeah, that's fine. Okay. What are we filming? No, it's fine.
So
Yeah.
it was in
Moving
his
on.
contract that we'd have
I love film like
he would
contracts.
have,
Yeah,
he would
I've seen
have
this.
3 attempts at every line in order to get them right.
Yeah.
At least 3.
I think it was.
Or he would only be allowed 3.
He's allowed 3.
I think even including
Hello.
ADR.
Yeah.
You know, so like.
He had 3 attempts.
If he had 2 on set, he'd only get 1 in ADR.
Yeah, I guess so.
Fuck, that's why?
I mean,
Is that for his benefit or for the film's
for his
benefit?
benefit, he had it. Well, yeah,
because
so,
otherwise they would end up overdubbing him.
Yeah.
Oh, I
You
see.
know what I mean?
Great point. Yeah,
I mean
yeah.
that is the thing. Like
Would have
some,
been not a
some,
bad idea.
some films are kind of made to entertain. Some films, their primary purpose is to inform. This film's primary purpose, watching it, is to give Dolph Lundgren as little lines as possible. Like they just spend it's just like loads of people speaking and he goes, yes. And it's good, that'll do. We're out of here.
it is noticeable for like a He-Man movie how little
Yeah.
he's in it, and it is like it's there's so it's like they've gone, well, we need the ensemble in order to
We need him in this
we'll
film.
carry this as He-Man and he's on the poster, and then we just put everything else around him in order to sort of distract, and then we can, because there's points where like they're going off doing other things and it comes back and he's halfway through a conversation. I think it's a point where he's explaining to Courtney Cox what's happened, and they come back and it comes back and it's into the conversation, and he's talking about the key, the infinity key or whatever it is.
The cosmic key.
The cosmic key, which is a key part of this film, because the whole point is that, well, there it is. Timpsons are going to phone any minute. If you don't know what that is, that's a risky reference at best if anyone watches this outside the west coast of Scotland. But the cosmic key, Skeletor's got a hold of the cosmic key. Forgive me if I'm straying off, and he's going to use this in order to take
There's
over.
two copies of the-
There is
there's
two
two- there's two
copies,
copies. Yeah.
because
Let's get back on track. Come on.
let's talk about a character that has never been seen before in the He-Man universe, but is key to this part. Who am I talking about?
Gwildor!
Gwildor, played by legendary tiny actor Billy Barty, who I only ever saw in UVF, the Weird Al Yankovic
Oh, yeah,
movie.
nice.
Took a look.
Nice. Yeah, Gwildor. So basically, like, the whole plot is the cosmic key can make you travel or let you travel to different places, right?
Yes, and times.
And times, yes, as we find
I
out
mean that
later
right.
on. Yeah. So you can travel to different places. So I think as Dolph Lundgren memorably says, that is how Skeletor managed to defeat us. Oh, okay, cool. Thanks for
Thanks,
that.
well done, Velma. It's quite the read.
So Skeletor stole the cosmic key so he could use it to jump about Eternia and murder people, right? Ooh.
That's why you'll never host Crime Watch.
What?
It's too cheery. Oh, he's been a bit of a murder.
I'm just saying, just keep it light.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Even if it's Crime Watch, right? And also because of the director of this is practically Crime Watch. So there's the cosmic key, and then Dolph Lundgren and Man at Arms.
Man at Arms, yeah.
I always want to say Manowar, but that's a
yeah.
terrible mailband.
He's Man at Arms of this.
and Tila, right?
Yes.
Who's his daughter, I believe.
He's all played by Chelsea Fields.
Yeah, stepdaughter in the cartoon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
These films weren't ready for that. It was
We'll come back.
That's too much.
the
that's
nuclear
too-
family.
We'll come
is
back
important.
to Chelsea Fields later.
Nice.
I think.
But they find Gwildor, who is basically, I think he's like a little sort of like ginger kind of slightly hobbity kind of person. I think he's kind of coded as space Irish. And
That's the second time. That's your second warning from the raft.
I'm a Celtic fan. Leave me. Come on, guys.
I understand why that character exists, because you can't do Orko.
Yeah, because he flies about.
Oh,
he
it's
flies
complete.
about.
I mean, imagine how bad
Yeah,
Orko would have looked if he'd been in it. Now,
Just a
I
child
realise
in a
at this
wire.
point there might be some people going, well, we've drifted into a He-Man fan base. No. Orko was was in the fucking opening credits. It was a big part of
big-
He-Man.
big-
Nowhere to be
he
seen.
looked like Whizbit.
And neither is Battle Cat. But,
Battle is that's insane for me. The
But
Battle
again,
Cat.
same thing, too expensive.
Yeah.
You know? But so Gwildor is the person that creates these cosmic keys, which by using the power of sound will transport you anywhere. Oh, that's great. Now our heroes have this cosmic key. Everything's going to be fine.
no, it's not going to be fine.
okay.
It's all going to go to shit. because Skeletor is a man possessed. So what we end up doing is they just wildly put in coordinates of anywhere. Anywhere. Just to get away. And where do they end up?
That's it. They're getting attacked by Skeletor's forces, and to escape Skeletor's forces and reduce the budget of this movie, they end up in present day at that time America.
What?
Woo, what a real lucky freaking stroke for the budget.
And again, it's not even New York, is it?
It's New Jersey, I think.
It's the American diner.
It's two streets.
I think
If you look carefully, it's two streets.
I think it's where what's his name? Shane Black shot Predators or whatever, the Predator. I think it's the same. And that's when I watched that Predator film, right? That's exactly what I felt when I watched that it was a 1980s.
Yeah, it's very 90s.
It's that small town. You kids running around the school, all that kind. It's got all that, and this does exactly the same. This has those kind of tropes. It's school kids. We've got a dance going on. We've got
there's the end-of-school dance and stuff. Yeah.
So our heroes land on Earth. So already we're going to see the juxtaposition of we don't quite get what's going on, and we're going to get to that in a second. But the problem is that damn cosmic key that they had has gone missing. Well, that's a bit of a worry because Skeletor can trace it.
Skeletor.
No, Skeletor. They're not away from him. They're just having this, what we'll call, I don't know, weekend break in wherever it is of USA. The cosmic key has gone missing, where it is picked up randomly by two lovers who have a sad story. Not only are they moving away from each other to go to various universities, one is played by Courtney Cox. Now, where do we stand on Courtney Cox? We have talked about Dolph Lundgren. Where do we stand on Courtney Cox?
So this is important. Courtney Cox, this is like after Dancing with Bruce Springsteen, but before Dancing in a Fountain to the Rembrandts. It's a very sort of specific.
Well done.
Like this is her kind of big, like I'm going to be a film actress role.
Yeah,
and she's picked terribly, but
I guess the debate region. This could have sunk her.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? This was one of those ones like you might never have seen her on
I think this is so inconsequential that it just paid her rent, allowed her to stay in LA until the call from Friends.
Well, when Friends happened, I went, it's the lassie from Masters of the Universe.
There's no way. There's no way.
This may surprise you. I was actually quite a nerdy wee guy. I know. I'm real sure.
There it is. So I think she does everything she needs to do.
She's good at it.
As white meat American lovely girl. That's all I can really do. That's
white meat.
I mean, see,
clip that, please.
I think it was the addition of lovely girl at the end.
Yeah, you're right.
Like from Father Ted, the lovely girl competition, which is very weird because I don't consider myself overtly sexist. Despite the fact we spent 10 minutes talking about your dick earlier. Turns out I'm into all the options. Here, Courtney Cox is, I think, fine in this film. The acting from their two USA... Well, the actor that plays our boyfriend...
Kevin Corrigan is the actor.
Now, who was probably best known to geeky, nerdy fans as Mr. Paris from Star Trek Voyager. There you go. When I saw Star Trek Voyager,
you were like, "That's a guy."
I was going, here's the boy from there. No, it wasn't.
I have seen. So I have when I researched this, I've seen that, and I looked at him in this. I've looked at him in Star Trek Voyager, and to me, doesn't look like the same. I wouldn't.
Oh, really?
It's the same.
Right.
Wouldn't think it's the same guy.
Well, I don't think he's particularly great in this film.
No.
There, I've said it. We have been faced by probably, apart from Dolph Lundgren, our first bad actor.
Yeah.
I don't think he's good.
He's not great. It's also like, he is like almost in a different movie as well. Do you know what I mean? Like he's like, it's the classic thing of it's like, oh, my boyfriend's a musician, and somebody else later on goes, oh, you've got perfect pitch, and it's like, all right, I guess we're never going to need this later on in the film.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, guys.
The thing with this film is that I don't feel as though this film is being written as a film for a Masters of the Universe. I feel as though this film has been pieced together from, we need it to be a little bit Star Wars, we need it to be a little bit Back to the Future. We need
a little bit of Monica.
Yeah. Right. And
wow.
I mean, even the score is really good.
Yes.
Yeah,
And then
I will say.
then there's a bit at the end which picks up on your thing where it turns into Close Encounters.
Yeah.
Well,
And-
before we really get to that, there's a couple of things we do need to chat about, right? Which is, and you just had it there with the score.
Yeah.
Can I just see the music that comes out the Cosmic Key? I think it's really good. Like, I know that sounds like an odd thing, but it's very relaxing. Whenever it happens, I do kind of go like, "What? That's kind of cool." It makes you kind of sit up.
But I think we talked about, I think I mentioned this to you guys last time. There's a thing that happens in like 1980s movies, right? And it happens it's where my argument that Superman 3 is a terrible film, and it's only not as bad because Superman 4 exists. But there's a bit, and this bit in The Key reminded me of what's his name? Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor is coding on a computer, and he's just hitting the keyboard, going, "Oh, I don't know what I'm doing, but things seem to be happening." And then the Green Man climbs up and punches the Red Man, kind of thing, right? That kind of, and that's what happens with this. Is the guy just goes, he picks up the Cosmic Key, right, and just goes, "I know how to play this thing perfectly."
See, that really annoyed me because, like, so he just went, "Oh yeah," because like within, I don't know, 5 seconds, he's kind of putting together a sort of tune.
Yeah.
And that really annoys me.
Well,
because he doesn't know where the keys are.
No,
Like,
but at the same time, though, they do say he's got perfect pitch. So
Well, they do
the writers
say-
have thought about your criticisms.
I wonder when he became a musician. What point in the script did he become a musician?
Yeah.
When did all that?
Oh, that's 100% retrofitted to him.
That's like a 3rd or 4th or 5th or 6th draft. I don't care what
Amazing
anyone
bit where he
says.
just goes, it's one of these, he describes, and the key doesn't look like a musical
Well,
instrument that I've ever seen.
It actually looks like
it looks like
Geiger's dildo.
Yeah.
It's very terrifying.
Yeah,
I mean, it's got those big forks that are swirling around.
in the Thanos porno movie.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, I don't know where it's unique looking. I'll give you that. It's.
I mean, according to them, it looks like a Japanese synth.
Which I thought was racist. But I don't get where even that's coming to. So we keep coming back to the same thing, and I think what annoys you about like a bad film, these bits of this film where you go like, somebody cared. Somebody really cared about this film. Like even the prop we're talking about, the Cosmic Key. It's great. Like if you were a kid and you saw that, you probably went, "Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, it looks cool.
I want to
I think it looks cool.
I want to push the button. No, it's cool. If I take that to school, I won't be bullied. I'll just fucking beat the bullies going to another universe.
Oh,
That's
I think you're revealing a little too much, but go on.
Yeah, because the
I did
musical
musical kid and
kids,
figured out I was better at
the
hitting people than I thought.
the kids who are into music at school never got bullied.
Yeah.
But so the film's going along at a click. There's a couple of, like I say, the chemistry between our two young leads. It's a problem because it's got all the effective chemistry of a sodium dildo. It's not working between those two, but at least we care. I guess at least we care enough about.
At least that replicates salt.
Courtney,
Yeah, exactly.
Courtney Cox, we quite like her.
We quite like her.
And they've got the Cosmic Key.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I wonder what this is. We'll just keep pressing buttons. That certainly won't send a signal back to Eternia for fucking Skeletons.
Wow.
Bad guys to find them. Oh, wait, what? Yeah, okay.
In the meantime, we are back in Eternia where Skeletor's going, "Oh my god, it's Courtney Cox," in a Jason Bourne style voice. So our heroes have landed and they're playing the fish out of water thing. We've kind of covered that a little bit already, from the fact that Tila doesn't know the chicken, so they're eating chicken bucket.
Yeah.
All these tiny little white sticks.
Yeah.
They serve it on. Oh, it's bones. Oh.
Yeah, so that's
So they're all vegan. They're all vegetarian.
Like Eternia, this post-apocalyptic wasteland, but they're like too good for chicken.
Exactly.
I mean, you're telling me He-Man has never protein loaded
Yeah.
in his life.
Exactly. He protein load in the middle of this film, you know what I mean? It's so we're getting the fish out of water stuff, but our team are efficient and they're going to track down the key. But sadly, can they get to it before Skeletor and his minions? No, mate, they cannot.
Can we talk about his minions?
Let's talk about his minions.
Wait, I mean, there's just one of them I really want to talk about.
Right.
And I don't know the names of them.
Is it?
Oh, I mean,
is
I
it,
fucking
is it
help
the
you out
Tina
here.
Turner one?
Oh, it's amazing.
Right.
It's
So
a
Karg.
Yeah.
I would die for Karg.
Karg is great, yeah. He looks like Eddie from the Iron Maiden albums.
Yeah. It's like a yassified critter. You know?
He's got a terrible voice. Got a terrible raspy voice.
Oh god. Yeah.
Oh, I don't think I can. I'm trying to think of a line from the film.
Yeah, do you know why it's hard to think of a line from film? Because it's not very good, Billy.
Oh no! Right.
do you know what's easy to remember? Lines from The Godfather.
I remember more lines from Freddy Got Fingered, if I'm completely honest.
Daddy, would you like some
sausage? There we go. Classic. Proud. Maybe proud.
Fingers crossed. We can't.
Sorry, Rick. You look visibly annoyed at that.
Yeah.
You look visibly annoyed at that.
Why am I in a room with
I
these
feel like I'm in a
females?
different fucking podcast.
Tom Green's phoning. I'll leave it. Yeah,
This podcast isn't watch great movies.
exactly. You shut up, Tom. So the film's go by to like Skeletor and his minions. They come to Little Town America, where they they don't capture Cornicus because it just so happens He-Man gets there just before.
For no reason. Like, there's no... In that scene, she's being chased in a scene that looked like it was nicked out of, like, Terminator.
We're going to skip back. Scumbag boyfriend. So there they are. It's the night before she flies away. They're having this romantic night where he spends most of it pissing about with a Japanese synthesizer he found in the same funeral, what do you call it, graveyard that our parents are buried in.
We haven't mentioned that, of course, Courtney Cox's parents died in a plane crash.
Very tragic.
Incredibly tragic. And again, I wonder why they're bringing this up. I'm sure it'll come up.
But then after going to the place where he played a gig like the night before, pissing about with it, he then announces that he's going to fuck off and leave her so he can go and show it to his mate. Scumbag boyfriend.
Yeah, you're right. He is a dick.
Scumbag boyfriend.
Do you know what? No, she's already leaving. It's already over.
And also, actually, if this man really cares about his music career, he can't let her stand in his way.
That's a good point.
You know what?
That's
Actually,
a good point.
And the fact that the assumption that when you see the thing, the assumption that it's a musical device, right, and not some sort of weird...
And he plugs it in.
Yeah.
Like,
doesn't-
there's a bit where he plugs it in.
Does he not just put a mic next to it?
No, I think there's a bit where he puts a jack into it. So
Yeah.
I'm sure I saw
like
a lead.
it's got a USB. And you know.
Well, it would have been back then.
It's Bjork-like. He's just everything can be musical.
No wonder she's like, I'm going to get on that fucking plane and leave this pitch perfect my horse. This guy's a fucking idiot. She's the only person that's got the balls to tell him. It's like, you do not have perfect pitch.
No, this thing's great.
It does not
As
sound
she
good.
breaks out, starts playing Smelly Cat on it.
But the key is so our lovers are split up. The man that we'll call him, I forget his character. I think it's
Kevin Corrigan, is it not?
Yeah,
Is
it's
that
Kevin
not the name of an actor? Though?
It is,
Right,
like,
that confused me all the
yeah.
time.
Yeah,
Kevin-
his character is Kevin Corrigan, and Kevin Corrigan is an actor.
That
who's
smacks of a
like
late hire on the film, doesn't it? It's like, what's your name? Kevin. Cool. It's Kevin. On you go. But then Gary Goddard probably wasn't that what. Anyway, we'll move on from Gary and his bizarre casting choices. So what happens is it's a battle to and fro through small town USA to get the key back. Now, I noticed a couple of things. First of all, and I put it here in big letters, Dolph Lundgren can't fight for fuck.
Oh yeah, the choreography of the fight scenes is dog shit.
Yeah.
His is particularly bad.
Yeah.
His is particularly bad.
It's oddly edited as well.
Oddly edited.
It's like they have had bad fight sequences, and then there's bits where mid-fight sequence, they cut to him just waving it round like he's doing some crazy close-up. I don't know about you guys. I remember Highlander being good in my head. When you watch it back, Highlander is not a good film. Mm-hmm. Right? It's just okay. This makes Highlander look amazing. Again, it's like Highlander was. They've gone. To me, it's like they've gone. Highlander happened. Swords are good. Let's do that for kids, basically.
Highlander's a traditional Scottish film. I don't feel like I can really. It's a story.
Maybe our greatest film. From
Maybe
these
our
lands.
greatest.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes. Local hero.
Highlander whiskey galore.
Whiskey galore.
I do love
Braveheart.
I do love
Rob Roy, the Braveheart.
I do love a pun when it comes to restaurants and takeaway. And there is in Edinburgh, there is a Thai food restaurant called Thailander.
Oh, well done.
And I use it because of the pun. It's not even that like the food.
So we have Skeletor terror. This all happens quite fast, but no action necessarily happens. There's not really any real sense of doom.
There's a lot of people like going places and going, oh, we're here now.
Yeah, we're here now. Probably one of the standouts. He's not necessarily needed in this film is Detective Lubeck, who is just there to stir the shit. Now, this is the actor. I want to say I think it's James Tolkien. His name is.
Tolkien.
It is Tolkien,
I think
but
it's
it's spelled Tolkan. I think.
Ah, okay.
So it's slightly different. Most people recognise him as Principal Strickland from Back to the Future.
Guy
So
that
in
gives
Top
Maverick
Gun?
and Goose's chance.
He's in Top Gun.
Yeah.
Was he in the sequel?
No, he's not in Maverick. No.
Oh right, okay, he's still around. I double checked. He's still with us.
He's really old now.
He is so fucking retired.
Yeah.
It is unbelievable. But
He's quite good in this film.
I like him in this film. The guy is bloody good at what he does.
Yeah.
But he sort of plays the same character in everything. Like it's this.
That's fair.
You know, he's very. You know, you can see him. What he is in this is the same as the principal in that he's slightly antagonistic.
The hard
really,
ass.
I don't really get it. I've got a job to do. Just do what I want you to do. Stop ticking around, and that's the whole stick that he has, and he does it well.
He has that trope of like you're not a bad guy, but you're in it, and he'll make he'll be unnecessarily an asshole. You're getting arrested.
Yeah.
But why? He doesn't actually need. You don't need to
And
arrest him.
it's conjoined with that trope of like the guy who's like, no, this can't be happening, as he sees aliens fly in and shoot each other with lasers. He's like, well, no, they're aliens and with lasers, and he goes, no, they can't be. And it's like, you've literally just seen this.
I want to call him a prop. Right, there's a couple, couple of props in it. I would like to call. Everyone's gonna think I'm going for the cosmic key. I'm not going for the cosmic key. I'm not a musician. Wouldn't know how to work it. I don't have perfect pitch. That's a waste.
It's not a musical instrument.
It's taking up space in my house.
I'm not gonna lie. Until you, I didn't think about that either until you said it was like HR Geiger's dildo, and now I'm like, I'll take it.
Basically, it's a punched up Alexa. That's all it is. It's a punched up Alexa. I don't want it in my house. So I am going to go with the flying shields that they have. There's a bit where He-Man dicks around in high flying shields, or if I can, if you'll permit me, I'll have Skeletor's hairdryer thrown ship. Now he said Skeletor never leaves his throne at any point because he just kind of hovers on this chair and does some of the best acting in the film.
And that looks really good as well. Like the him coming in the ship.
This was all leftovers from canons like of discarded Star Wars ripoff, Space Troubles.
Yeah, Space
Do you know, Space Trouble, Star Issues, something like that. It would be interesting actually if you ever got the opportunity to track these props, like were they built for the film or have they come from somewhere else?
So part of the, there's Skeletor has all these kind of like baddies that look like sort of shit stormtroopers in black and stuff like that. And I saw a thing where the guy was saying that Mattel didn't want He-Man to kill anyone.
Yeah, so they're all robots.
So they're meant to be robots, which I didn't even get. I just thought they were dudes in suits.
I didn't get that at all.
So again, the contract when they signed it for the He-Man can't kill. So basically that's why.
So that's why he's so shit at fighting.
So there's explosions whenever he hits them with a sword. There's an explosion comes off them, and that's because they're robots, and because he can't kill.
I didn't get that.
Kill a robot.
Yeah, I didn't get it until I
didn't get that at all. Anybody got a prop they want to call?
I'm gonna go with. I've got two. I'm not sure which, but both of them. I want. Yeah, I know what I'm going for. I'm gonna go for Skeletor's golden head.
Oh wow! Right at the end.
Looks great.
Yeah. Love it, Chris.
In real life, I'd quite like that that fucking collar thing. Where it's just like
the prisoner thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
that'd be quite good. Like if somebody was just like annoying me, I could
the interrogation collar.
Yeah, I could just put it on them and be like, "Fuck off," and they'd go fuck off. Like they just like they've got like basically like a slave collar, right?
Watch bad movies of great comedians' kinks.
I'm just saying. I also feel like
it would be useful.
It would be useful, right?
It would be useful.
I mean, in real life, right? If that you're choosing that in real life, and you're choosing that over a cosmic key that can make you go anywhere.
Let's bring this.
I just want to get a little bit into his head right now. Why? Are you
I don't think you do, but go ahead.
Do you know what? If I do, I'll use a fucking cosmic key.
Also, what annoyed me in the film is that like they have this like slave collar that just makes you like, I'm just gonna tell you everything I need to know and do what you want to do. And they bring it out.
Dirty bastard.
No, they bring it out. They bring it out like halfway through the movie, and you think, use that all the time.
Use that all the time.
They also leave it on him.
Yeah,
like they leave it. They just take it with him.
Kill him. Yeah. Slit his throat. Right. Might have been a tough sale for the filmmakers.
He's not a robot. It can't happen.
Yeah, exactly. Slit his throat. Take that. They look expensive.
Yeah.
They look expensive. But yeah, I would have.
It is also.
I know, as I say out loud, sounds like in a horrendous sex kinky thing. But I wasn't thinking about it that way until now. And so I doubled down on my decision.
I've just got this image of you using it as we're all stand-up comedians. Next time somebody says, "Oh, I've sent the money, it should be in your bank account," Chris just silly some promoter getting clipped. I haven't even fucking
I've not even looked at your email.
I'm not even looking at your email. I'm not even opened your invoice.
We get the caller. That's a Patreon episode here. We take times where they're just like, I've never seen The Untouchables.
Which also came out in 1987. Which also came out in
Definitely wasn't
1987.
directed by Gary Goddard.
Exactly, wasn't. Should have
It
been.
would have been called The Touchables. Hey, come on.
Joke.
Oh, no, sorry.
Chris, do you have a prop?
Sorry, man.
Sticking with the kink theme, there is a bit with an animated like rotoscoped whip, and it looks metal as fuck.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's
which
cool.
if you notice very carefully, this is an odd thing to notice, but I'm going to tell you, especially considering what we've just talked about. There is a bit where He-Man's getting whipped, and I tell you right now, it looks like he leans into it. You know what I'm saying? And he definitely pushes out the glutes.
It's the only time he had any emotion in the film.
I don't understand what Skeletor wants in the whole film.
I think he wants He-Man.
He just wants He-Man. It's really gay. It's really gay. Because it's like,
Well,
I've got
even
He-Man, and then it's like, I'm going to put you in shackles, you're going to be my slave, and then you're going to get whipped. It's like, the whole thing is like really weird.
I'll tell you how much he wants He-Man, right? Because they go, "What should we do with all these Earthlings?" And he goes, "Leave them alone.
Yeah.
I've got what I want.
I'm leaving them alone. I'm gonna leave everyone else.
Yeah.
I'm just it is such a oddly gay message, isn't it? Because what do you want most in the world? He-Man.
Well, that's
like, just
when they've got him. See when they've got him like all tied up and stuff. Like when Skeletor captures him near the end, and he's all tied up. So I just like the idea of like Evil Lyn or something. Like, so we're gonna put a shirt on him. He's like, oh.
Like I spend 99% of this film like thinking to myself, who the fuck is this for? And then this one scene, I'm like, no, I know. Like this was made with artistic intent. For one scene, it becomes a Derek Jarman movie, and it's just like director's just like, I want him glossy, and I want him being whipped.
Yeah.
And just trust me.
It's weird that we've actually talked about kinks, and that's only the first time that Evil Lyn has came up with Meg Foster and her gorgeous eyes and her gorgeous face, and I just honestly, it's ridiculous. Although Evil Lyn was also the name of a drug dealer at the end of my street when I was a kid.
Oh, that's fun.
You know, that's fun, isn't it?
Yeah, that's cool.
You don't hear Lyn used much. Like Lyn's not a name you hear used much in film these days.
it's Evil Lyn as well, and whenever you read about it, it's genuinely evil hyphen
Lyn,
Lyn.
yeah.
It's not like it's pronounced like the name. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's more like you expect to read it in a page of the Sun.
Yeah.
Shortly followed by the words.
Of course.
before turning the gun on herself.
I was going to say, of course, it does suggest the existence of a good Lyn. So that's
Wow.
there we go.
I wish I'd picked Goodlin as my prop.
Would you not get a little bit of sexual tension between Evil Lyn and Skeletor though?
Oh,
I know.
yeah,
I think it was one way. I think she was like,
he like doesn't put out at all,
No.
and she wants it so bad. Like honestly, her turkey waddle practically.
Well, do you
chases
know
him
why?
round the
Do you know why
palace.
she walks like she does in the film? You know the.
wait, okay. Go on.
She's got like a slinky kind of walk all the way to the film,
yeah.
right? So basically, the breastplate and the thing she's wearing was
Don't
£45.
move or whatever, right, yeah.
Wow.
£45. So basically, her slink.
So what's
They call it
that?
that anymore?
That's well over 3 stone.
I don't think you can see that in the film, but maybe you had a better copy than I did.
But like when she had a walk, like basically the thing she was wearing had like bruised her groin area and stuff like that. So she was in pain for that. She was in pain for the whole film and like used it. That's why she never sits down in the film.
Oh my
She's
God, that
always
was-
stood up. She's always upright. It was always used for
That
the film.
honestly makes me want her even more. Even more. Like that is ridiculous.
Oh, no, let's take this collar off, Billy.
No.
Do you know who else is up for that role?
Who?
The woman, I can't remember her name. And in Superman 2, the woman, the bad woman.
Oh, as part of the Krypton,
yeah.
bad people, Krypton bad people. That's what
Captain
they
Bad
call
People.
it.
Well done.
Yeah, Krypton, but yeah.
Yeah, and you kind of go, had it been made in the 90s, it would have been Carrie Ann Moss.
Yeah, no, but you can kind of see that lassie from Superman 2. Like, it totally makes sense. And the lassie that plays Evil Lyn, is it next year? She's in They Live? Is that right?
She's in They Live, that's
Is
right.
she really?
Yes. She is a stalwart of movies.
When you
Still
say,
making
when you
films
say
to this
next year,
day.
do you mean from when, in 1987?
Yeah, is it They Live not in 88?
I don't know, but when you said next year, I was like, are you making...
Oh, right, yeah. And also, she's still got a career. Good for her.
I'm really happy about it.
She's still going. One of her most recent gigs was for Rob Zombie. So let's move along. Right. So let's take it. What happens is He-Man has been captured. The good guy's been left alone.
On Earth.
They don't know what the key's been messed up. They've no idea what was the tune. Because remember,
this is that whole sequence with the four of them. I quite like it in
They need to, just to set it up, they need to know what the key configuration has been moved about.
Right.
So they have no idea how to get back.
I quite like it in films when your hero protagonists who are in the film come together. Like
You like it.
I like it when they're all working together. You get that feeling of like, oh, this is everyone's the gang again, right? You know, it's like, so when it's when they do the opposite in Empire Strikes Back, when they separate everyone off. Do you know, when you kind of the films when Luke, Leia, and Han are all together, like nothing can go wrong. You have that feeling about it, and then people get separated off. And there's a bit where they all get left, where He-Man goes, they get left behind, and there's 4 of them, right? And they're all kind of like, oh, we're trapped on this planet. We're trapped on this planet, right? How are we ever going to get off, right? And the sequence of events is some of the worst writing I've ever seen. It's like, because he just goes, it's impossible to get off. I could never remember the coordinates, right? And he's like, well, I can remember the tune. And then he sort of starts,
what?
Perfect pitch.
I've got perfect pitch. I'll start. Do. And it's like, and it literally is doing the tune from fucking Close Encounters. It's so that's what he's doing. Like, okay, it's the Close Encounters tune pretty much, right? And then he goes, and then there's this weird thing where he goes, and they've set this up of like, what do we need? We need something to play it. We need this device. We need this device. We need this device. And he goes, oh, where are we going to get them from? And he goes, I need this device. And she goes, oh, this is in my pocket. And he goes, what about this device? And then Man at Arms goes, oh,
I've got one of those.
I've got one of those. Right? And he goes, well, you're going to need some sort of device to play it back on. He goes, well, I'll drive to school and get my keyboard. He goes, what's that? He goes, it's just a device to play tunes on. And then there's a bit where everyone goes, oh, we can do this. And then for no reason at all, Kevin has this weird moment where he just starts to doubt himself and starts going, I can't do this. I'm just a guy in the band who's never really amounted to much. I can't help you. And it's just,
because does Gordon not call him like a master? Like, you're a master music maker. I don't know why I'm going to Yoda, but it's very similar.
You need to really know the difference between those species, man. That's not cool. That's not cool.
I'm culturally insensitive. I'd like to apologize.
You can't do the voice anymore, man.
You can't do the voice, man. You can't do the voice.
Come on, it's not 1981, man. Come on.
I'd like to apologise to the Gwildor community.
We have from what we've seen, quite a big amount in Scotland. Lots
of gingers kicking about.
But you're right, and it's really just so they can give him a talking to. Does it work? It does work. Spoiler though, Detective Lubeck comes back into the story at this point going, look at these fucking nutters. What's going on? I've got to stop this shit. Because the whole point is that Courtney Cox has been hurt. And the only way they'll be able to find the medicines to cure her is by heading back to Eternia, because the 24-hour boots is open.
I think that's to Eternia, where the abundance of plant life will surely have the medicine she fucking needs.
Again, I believe actually, because the writers are very smart and have thought about this, I believe it's like, is it not the sorceress who is being held? Yes, the sorceress is being held captive at Castle
Ironically, Grayskull. So there we go.
Yes, as we find out later in Friends. She's being held captive. So by Skeletor, and that's the whole thing, is like basically like when the moon rises, he'll take all her power and stuff. Yeah. But she's now, not only will that be bad for Eternia, but she's the only one that can save Courtney Cox. There's a line in that section, like when they're all trying to figure out what happened, that actually I thought, see if the rest of the film was like this could, because Man at Arms says, in half a chromon, we won't have a sorceress to go back to. Yes. And I was like, this film should be amazing, right? With that line, in half a chromon, we won't have a sorceress to go back to. That rules.
May I do the reading?
Oh,
yeah.
In half a chromon, we won't have a sorceress to go back to. He got emotional. Yeah. He got emotional on a unit of time that no one's ever heard before this moment.
That's the good shit that you get in these sort of films where they're just like, look, we get this is daft, so we're just going to say loads of fun, cool
You're speaking like a man who's never done the Kessel Run.
Yeah. Exactly. Do you know what I mean? But it's that sort of stuff where you go, oh, that's fun. Like, but the rest of it is like, can we get a keyboard player?
Yeah.
That's not fun.
That thing with the time thing is like, isn't it like a bit like labyrinth kind of thing? It's just got to say, it's that thing. It's one of the things. It's that trope. And I think the whole film's written by the guy that wrote The Dark Crystal.
Yeah.
And it's like, you just show, that guy, I'm betting he wrote The Dark Crystal. I'm betting he was one of the writers on Neverending Story. I reckon he was one of the go-to guys and has been on all those fantasy films right the way through, because that thing of like, we've got to do it before the sun goes down.
Yeah.
It's-
But again, all that kind of stuff's quite fun, and then the rest of it is really prosaic. And
Well,
dull.
let's get to what happens. Detective Lubeck tries to interrupt the attempt to go home, but ends up being a part of it because they manage to get all the way to Internal. In fact, a section of the street ends up going back into, we'll call it Skeletor's Palace, for lack of a phrase. Although I always got the feeling that it kind of insinuates it's Castle Grayskull.
No, yeah, I
but-
think it is.
So,
But it doesn't look anything like Castle Grayskull. And that fucking bothered me again. But then there's no battle cat. And I get the problems with technology. I want a fucking cat in armor.
It's okay,
that
Bill.
that set that he was on, right, was the biggest set built in Hollywood within 40 years.
Oh my God. It looks,
That's
in all
why-
fairness, it does look great.
That's why it basically cost so much that Canon insisted a third of the film had to be shot there. So that's why everything is done in.
Oh, yeah,
that's why
okay.
everything's gone back to it. Yeah. Right. So yeah, but that's the biggest set. They had to knock. It was so big they had to knock a wall through in between two sound stages.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, no wonder they had other plans for it. Well, what happens is that I nearly said Dolph Lundgren. They come back. They manage to free. Can I just take you back to the start of the film, just for 1 second? The first 5 minutes I thought was really good. There's a bit
Yeah, I
where
mean, what
Skeletor's-
better time?
There's this bit where Skeletor's taking powers from the sorceress, which is a worry, and it's very sexual. May I just say, like he's and she's and it just I'm gonna screenshot a bit of it. And you will see, like, I don't know what's going on here. I don't think this is good at all. No.
And in the spirit of this, I'd like to take us back to earlier in this podcast when you were talking about my kinks. There's a lot you're revealing here. Physician, heal thyself, Kirkwood.
I don't care, man. I'm a man in his early 40s.
Let it all hang out.
Wide open. But what happens is we manage to, and I'm just going to very quickly go through it because I think it's probably the best way of doing it. They manage to save the sorceress. They manage to free He-Man. Skeletor, after becoming super fucking Skeletor and having Rick's lovely big golden head.
Which looks great.
Which does look great. Have the power flowing through me. Like, again, Frank Langella is great in this.
Yeah.
Like, he is giving it the beans. And even though we could argue that he's chewing up the scenery,
He's doing the Emperor.
I don't know. I think he's doing the Emperor better than the fucking Emperor.
He's doing.
Take that, Star Wars fans.
He's doing what that film needs. Half a chrome on, guy overacting, chewing the scenery. That's what you need. That's what this film should have been the whole way through.
Yeah, if they'd have been more Skeletor, 50% more Skeletor. Well, maybe we'll get to that in a minute. Maybe. But what happens is that Skeletor, after is thrown down what we can only describe as a big watery chute.
Well, it's like doesn't he die pretty much exactly the same way?
Pretty much exactly the
As
same
the
way.
Emperor gets thrown down
Yeah.
a big hole.
Yeah.
It's like, I just get a feeling of someone. Man, I haven't seen Star Wars.
Kids are stupid.
Kids are stupid. They won't mind. And everyone saves the day. We get an opportunity. Everyone says a tearful goodbye, sending Courtney Cox and Kevin, even though that's not their names, but it's their names, back to the past. It's a shame
But
because
the policeman stays.
the policeman stays to become an intergalactic sex tourist, as Rick put it.
No checking out what the atmosphere is like outside. Can I breathe? What's the gravity like on this planet? Am I going to be crushed with
When you're horny, you don't think about these
pension-
things.
Will his pension get forwarded? Who's paying his taxis? Who's looking after his stuff? People will miss him.
Yeah.
If there's got a different gravity, right, and she is strong, he's going to have his spine ripped out of him.
Yeah.
Like,
How did your penis get ripped off?
Literally,
during
she's going to suck
intercourse.
his spine out of his dick. What a horrible way to go, to flappy skin, man. But it's interesting because they make the offer, we could send you back anywhere you want, anytime. No, I'm fine. And just as they're walking through the tunnel, but!
yeah.
And she wakes up. Was it a dream? No, it was not a dream. They sent her back in time. Her parents are still alive. She stops them from entering the death flight, we'll call it. And then she meets Kevin, and it wasn't a dream after all.
That's my favorite. Right, my favorite bit of the film is they send her back. Well, there's the two of my favorite bits happen in the end. Maybe the two best bits of this film.
Okay.
The bit where it's like we can send you back to any time, and they're almost going like we could even send you back to like 9 months ago before your parents died, so you could stop them from dying. And they're like, no. And then literally she's stepping on and she's like, oh, I could maybe save my parents. Gwildor, because as we discussed, smart guy. He knows.
Fucking sweetheart.
Great guy. Sends him back, right? Sends him back so she can save her parents. She gets up And she's like, oh my God, they're still alive. And she takes the keys and like, you can't travel, you can't get to this plane. And this means you're not going to get in the plane crash and you're still going to be alive. It's a beautiful thing. And then she runs out to find Kevin. And Kevin finds her. And Kevin's first words to her are like, hey, you should make sure your parents don't get on that plane. Yeah, no shit, Kevin. I think she's already like she was going to get up and see her parents alive and be like, get the plane. It's fucking fine.
If you didn't have perfect pitch, I would dump you fucking idiot.
Jesus, she's like, yeah, no wonder I left you schmuck.
There's something I was going to tell you guys. I'll tell you when you get back.
Oh, shit. And then ran back as they're like driving off to the airport.
Did he have the thought? Did he like, when he went, we could take him out of town, and he went, yeah, I'll just leave that. What if he'd have had a terrible 9 months?
Yeah.
What if I'm still living in the house with my paedophile father. Yeah. You know, he's having an awful time.
That's really need those extra 9 months. You do not want to be younger.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it takes you over the line. Yeah. It would have been a better film if in those 9 months his parents had died. And they had to choose. Wilder had to choose what was his favourite.
Yeah. What they did is like, well, hi Kevin's parents. Well, we can't get in our flight. Why don't you use those tickets? And it's all fucked. But what we need to know is that a happy story. We get a brief glimpse back in Eternity where everything seems to be going so well. Credits roll, and then it happens. Some people have argued it's the best part of the film. The Skeletor is not dead.
Yep.
And professes that he will be back. Spoiler. He will not. There was never a He-Man sequel or threequel. In fact, you said the set was used. The sets that they had already started constructed were using for Cyborg.
No, so basically they planned that they planned for they were going to use the same sets.
Right.
They had planned for He-Man 2 or Master Universe 2.
Yeah, so the sequel was something to do with like that He-Man was going to be back on Earth and was now undercover as a quarterback in an American football team.
Yeah. So Dolph Lundgren wasn't returning.
No.
They were, what's his name, Laird Hamilton?
Can I ask why he wasn't returning?
He hated the film.
And also, I think he did not go, if you want me to do this piece of shit again, Mucho De Niro, and they went, no chance.
Yeah, he hated it. He said he felt uncomfortable, like walking around his underwear for the whole film. Like,
it doesn't show. Great performance.
No.
Then what happened? You mentioned the surfer getting cast.
So basically, instead of Dolph Lundgren, the plan was to cast a surfer called Laird Hamilton.
Big blonde kind of guy, so you can kind of see why.
But like never acted before and didn't do much. If you think Dolph Lundgren was bad casting,
he's at least had one.
It's very much like, it's very much in the mold because the whole look of the film for me is I think it's very Flash Gordon.
Yeah.
The whole.
I think that's fair.
The whole thing.
Right. Shall we go through a couple of the reviews then? If you have any of your absolute favorites,
sure.
What I can say is Rotten Tomatoes called it 22% fresh.
Yep.
But the audience, it was 41% got the thumbs up. So audiences kind of liked it. What I'm going to say is when I looked at IMDb, they were mostly positive reviews.
Yeah.
People seem to enjoy it, or at least enjoy it from a nostalgic point of view.
Yeah,
I don't think there was a lot of reviews from like when it originally came out. There wouldn't be, would there? What did you guys find? What was some of the stuff you guys found?
Halfway through this live action version of the popular 80s kiddies TV show, I wondered what I'd done wrong to deserve all the pain and suffering.
Jesus.
My favourite one, little kids. Little kids at play have come up with more with craftier plots, better characterization, and conceivably more spectacular effects, provided their mothers let them play with matches.
So and trying to find some of the few positive ones. Sure, Masters of the Universe is a movie based on a TV series that was developed to sell war toys to children, but it's a whole lot more. This is pyrotechnical submerged sexuality at its intergalactic best, which is what I say every night.
I enjoy everything about Betsy's work in that review.
Yeah.
But like you say, the sequel does not happen and we fade to black. If you could hang out with any member of the cast or any member of the cast in the film, if you like, the characters, you'd go on a stag night with them, who would you go with? Chris?
100% Karg. Karg has like pub landlady energy. The kind of like, we're closed, but lock the doors. We're having a lock in. Like Karg lets you smoke indoors.
Come on, Chris, let's get Twitter like that, and just go for it. Rick.
Evil Lynn.
Oh, well, it's a good shout. With her bruised vagina.
Why is that, Rick?
Because
we get it.
okay.
She's really not in the film much. I mean, she's really, really not in the film. And she is a shapeshifter at one point. She turns into Courtney Cox's mum.
Yeah.
And I mean her... No, the character's mum in the film, just in case anyone's thinking.
I hate that trope as well. That's the classic, like, oh, I've just seen like all these aliens come and they're trying to get this one thing, this one magical thing, and my parents have been dead for like 9 months.
But that's fucking...
Oh, suddenly my mum's here and she really wants that magical thing. I think she calls it like a magical doohickey or something.
Best parody of that ever is Spaceballs.
Yeah.
Best parody of that when the king turns up. Oh, it's so stupid. It's tremendous. Who would you hang out with?
It's a tough one. I think I would really quite like to hang out with Gwildor.
Right.
Because I'm also an average musician. And he seems really easily impressed. Like that guy really wasn't doing much.
Master songmaker.
Yeah, he basically was doing like a 4-note melody. You could play that in one hand. Like I could have done that. He'd be like, "Oh, you're a master."
And over there, you could have just done anybody's songs, and he wouldn't know.
Yeah, I'm just It's basically like the film Yesterday, but it's just like me doing Oasis covers. And they're like, "This guy's the greatest songwriter."
Oh,
It's your cousin Gwildor Gallagher. You know that new song you're looking for.
Listen to this, kid. I feel like chicken tonight, like chicken tonight.
What's chicken?
You're a master songmaker. Let me ask you this question. We'll go around the panel. Could it have been saved, and how could you have saved it? If you can make one change to the film that you think could drastically improve it, what would it be? A lot of it points at Lungren. In all fairness, a lot of it points at Lungren.
Here's the thing. Do you know that Canon shut the film down 3 days quick? The only reason there's an end to the film is because the director quickly got Dolph Lundgren and Frank Langella to fight a scene. The reason the whole thing goes dark at the end, there's a whole point where the sword. The idea is that you hit the swords together and it pulls the light out of the room from the power. They didn't have sets. So basically, the whole reason it's shot in dark at the end was a decision that they made in order to shoot it and get an end.
It was forced upon him, and he had to think of a workaround. Yeah. And that's what's interesting is like that is actually the one good-looking bit of the film, and they didn't even plan that. No. Like that's how bad this film is. Basically, the one good thing, the one stylish part of it, was only there because the film got shut down. Yeah. So I don't know, maybe give them less money for the whole film. Could you shut it down and just have Langella kicking about?
What do you think, Chris? What could you do? What would be the change you'd make to save the film?
I think I'd maybe actually make a He-Man movie.
Well, there is that.
Because this is 2 for 2. Like the sequel they had planned is just like, okay, well, I don't know, we'll do American football. Do a He-Man movie.
Do you think a sequel? Should we have had a sequel? Yeah. If money had not been an object, would you have wanted to see a sequel? I can't quite see what the sequel would be.
I want to see a sequel now. Same actors. It's like Old Man He-Man. It's Unforgiven He-Man and Skeletor.
Unforgiven. Jesus Christ.
Hey, I don't hate that.
In the original plan for the film, She-Ra was supposed to be in there as well.
Oh.
And that was pulled by the director because he didn't want to detract from the He-Man story.
Fuck.
Which is what he does for the
Masters of the Universe featuring She-Ra. We can't put He-Man on there. So I for me, I don't know. It's a little bit of a weird one. Everyone would point at Lundgren. I don't necessarily know if he is. He looks the part. He's not Prince. He at least looks the part.
I think here's the big problem with the film. I think you're making the film at a period of time when you didn't have the technology to make the film. So the thing I would do with it, I think if you made it now, look at like old, because I think Fantastic Four was a canon film, stuff like you look at those things now that they were doing. If you did it now, you could probably do a decent. There's probably an argument to do a decent version of that film now.
I believe they are.
There you go.
And
you can do it. You can create a world. You can create a world. You don't have to set it. You don't have to do the thing of bringing it to like Earth and stuff like that. You can do the world. You can create the world. You can do. You can have him looking for unobtainium. You can have him. Do
you want to know my problem with the He-Man film? I'll tell you what my problem is.
I think I've got a guess, but you know what? Go on.
Come down the path with me, though. Come down the path with me. First of all, this is controversial, right? But I think, dare I suggest, the cartoon might have just done it. Like, sometimes some things don't need turned into films.
Okay.
And you know why the cartoon was perfect? Because it had fucking Battle Cat in it. Ladies and gentlemen, I think the panel is closing on this one. Are we still agreeing that it's, Chris, what's your final opinion? Still calling it a bad
listen,
film?
I'm happy to be outvoted here. You know, I know this is like, 12 Angry Men. I am the one true kind of moral centre of
Well,
this.
no, that's not fair. Chris over here is not much of a fan either.
Yeah, you hate it as well. Yeah, so both of you get fucked. It's fucking shit.
It's okay.
I don't think it's a good film. I think it's on par with a lot of fantasy fiction from the 80s.
Right.
It's a bad film we can all love.
So we're saying it's a bad film.
I think we have to. I think we have to. I think we have to. So, ladies and gentlemen, join us next time for Watch Bad Movies with Great Comedians, where we are going to be taking a trip, I believe, into, well, we're going to have a mini episode coming up very shortly about, well, propaganda, ridiculous advertising in films. That's going to be coming up. And coming up soon, we'll be taking a trip back into, oh God, this is actually giving me the fear, back into sci-fi, but this time with a little festive feel. If you don't know where we're going, I'd like to apologise. All I've got to say is left is good journey. See you later.